This
Delta.
is breaking news.
Yeah,
right,
Delta
aircraft
plane.
Like, you're going to read it?
Out of the scare at New York's LaGuardia Airport,
guy
a Delta
will read it.
passenger jet coming in for a landing from Jacksonville, Florida. Its left wing striking the runway as pilots were lifting back off to go around again. Air traffic control telling them the wing had hit the ground. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, a Delta passenger jet attempting to land at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Is this going to get us
striking its
copyright?
left wing on the
I wouldn't-
runway.
I
How about if I talk
Two
over it?
pilots on board
How about
appeared.
mute it? See if we get any good.
Somebody saw sparks flying from your wings, said the tower. Do you guys feel anything? They replied, no. Boy, that's a bad day.
80
80 passengers.
So is that Envoy or Endeavor?
Yeah, it's not. It's not
Wind gust 35 miles per hour. Some missed. Plane circled for another landing attempt. And
Delta
yes,
said go
landed
around.
safely and
Their
proceeded to
statement.
replicate.
Delta's statement was go around.
We
I think we're
apologize
missing the
we're missing that.
paraphrasing of the report here.
Delta responded with few words, much like Gonky. Go
Oh,
around.
is this it? Oh no,
That's
no, this
February.
This is
Oh,
Toronto. I don't like to see
I don't
that.
see
Everybody survived. Everybody survived
Everybody
that. Thankfully,
survived.
thank
Okay,
God.
All right.
All right, I think we can pause.
Yeah,
Mr.
we can
Alt.
take that away.
Wow,
It was windy up there yesterday. That was or today or whenever. That storm was legit.
it was windy today. I mean, I'm not that far from there, and but yeah, that's kind of disheartening. Tagging a wing on a landing or a go around or at any time, having the wing strike the tarmac. Obviously, it just happened, so not a whole lot to report. But I know
Low wing aircraft though, right? So I mean that's
Yeah,
I don't know.
low
I've never
wing air-
flown an RJ. This is what I'll say about it from an unbiased view. That storm was legit. Airplanes have limits. Pilots don't exceed those limits as far as winds. They don't. And things happen, and that's what you're trained for, right? I mean, from everything I read, they flew away. It's not the best day. It's going to be some paperwork. It's going to be some metal, but there's 80 people plus crew on there that are okay, from my understanding at this moment. So we are so focused right now on aviation, everything. You know, if I hear see one more comment, what's going on with aviation? Nothing's going on with aviation, short of the horrible incident at DC, right? And I followed up by Toronto. Like, those were big things, but aviation stuff happens all the time. You know what I mean? It really does. So it's just that it's now on the spotlight until something else is on the spotlight. Like, to use a Navy analogy, right? I mean, like, when you did something boneheaded at the ship, right? You just had to wait for your buddy to do something more boneheaded, right? And it was evident by the bolt that would hang over your chair if you bolted, right? And one of your buddies would run downstairs and put the bolt over your chair, and it was usually the guy that had it over his chair. It was like, thank God I got rid of it. That's aviation. It's just we're focusing on it so much now because everybody's hypersensitive. I don't think it's any less safe today than it was 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades ago. Oh, it's probably more safe than 2 decades ago. It is more safe than 2 decades ago. So but things are going to happen. I mean, we're not immune to it. And they did the right thing. They went around.
it is on the forefront of people's minds, man. I mean, just
Sure.
like last week at church, like this, I was talking to this couple I just met, and they found out that I fly airplanes on occasion, and they asked me, they said, hey, we've been seeing a lot of crazy stuff in the news lately, and is something going on? Is flying safe? Because a lot of people, we joke about the news and stuff, but a lot of people are kind of skeptical about what they hear, right? So they just, and I told them exactly what you said, man. I said, we're trained to fly these airplanes exactly in the middle of their capabilities, and that's where we try to keep them. And our policies and procedures don't let us deviate much from that. And I said, we're trained here in the States. The culture is if you deviate from that, even a little bit, the other pilot is trained to let you know, right? So, and I told him that I feel like you do, Wombat, that it's as safe as it's ever been. And the spotlight, I think, also has definitely been put on it. I mean, if you go back and look, last year we talked about all kinds of stuff. I mean, 737's gone off the runway, United dropping tires. I mean, I just like it's just on and on, right? So luckily none of that had any fatalities, but when you have a couple of global incidents where there are a lot of fatalities, the Jeju and the, you know, the DC crash and stuff, that I think that really highlights things. And I'm not saying we don't have any room to improve, but
Of course not. Yeah,
but yeah, you know, things, you know, unfortunately things happen, but like you said, they landed the airplane, everybody got off, a little bit of paperwork and find out what happened so we don't do it again. Mover,
exactly.
what do you think?
We are in a world of instant information now.
Literally.
I mean, yeah.
Breaking news.
Even 10 years ago, no one would have ever known. And that's part of it, right? You know, everything is when you're looking for red shirts, everything's a red shirt, right? You start seeing red shirts everywhere. Human factors has been a part of airline training for as long as I've been in the industry. And every time we brief incidents of, hey, we got away with one, but let's learn from it. Because it's humans operating complex machines in complex environments. And, you know, there by the grace of God go I. Sometimes you get lucky and all you have is, hey, we got to do some paperwork because we've been a little metal. They're not the first ones. I mean, JFK had the Airbus that took out the lights, you know, because of the wing low. I think just recently there was something at Austin that we didn't cover. It's good that we're open and transparent about it, but I think with that needs to be a little bit of perspective, because the general public, and I see this a lot in my YouTube videos and the comments, I hate to say it, but people are not that bright. They're just in general. So they glom on to things and get mad and want accountability and want to be, you know, take the pitchforks out, and they don't understand the nuance. They don't understand how stuff happens, and it may just be everything lined up that day versus, well, we want one person to, you know, we want to throw them under the jail. And so when something like this happens, yeah, we joke a little bit about, you know, the breaking news and the go around and stuff, but you're right. They did, you know, go arounds are a complex maneuver in an airliner, and they executed it, got the plane back safely. Will there be lessons learned? Absolutely. Will there be accountability? Yes. Like there will be accountability, but that is for the airline to determine, not a lynch mob, not the public. So
I couldn't agree more. And, you know, you hear the comments, this happened. I mean, the winds, I flew up from Palm Beach to Atlanta yesterday around that storm, and it was brutal. I mean, it was brutal. Like you don't need to be a geography major to understand that I had to go up to North Carolina to come back to Atlanta from Florida, like to get around this storm. And then add to it, we're right about to go through a cloud deck at 10,000 feet, and ATC goes, hey, RJ reported a severe turbulence. And I'm like, where? They're like, right in front of you. And right as I key the mic to say thanks, a whole bundle of Mylar balloons goes right down the right side of the plane. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if this lined up perfectly, those go down the motor, I crap that motor, and we hit severe, like, that is life. I mean, it's no different than you're driving down the highway and a semi blows out a tire, but it happens to miss you, or another car swerves and miss you. This is what we're trained for. And that's where, listen, we can all improve. Airlines can improve. Industries can improve. This is not just aviation related. You name it, right? Every industry can improve, and we will improve. The thing that bothers me to some degree, depending on who it's coming from, is like, well, this is typical because it's profits over safety. And I take offense to that, because as much as I joke on here and as much as I like to have a good time, when I put on that uniform and I put on those wings and I know there's 200 people behind me that are relying.
And the hat.
there's 200 people behind me that are relying on me, right? I take safety paramount. Like there is nothing else. And I joke that it's because I'm on the plane too, but in reality, it's because there's moms and dads and kids and all this. And you guys are the same that are on your plane. They're relying on you. They have no idea how to fly that plane or how to get it safely on the ground. They just trust that you are going to do it. And I take that. So when people are like, no, this is the airlines, that's not what's happening. I promise you, that is not what's happening right now. Safety is paramount. Things happen. Things have always been happening. It's just under the spotlight right now.
Yeah, and one other thing is that you talked about, profits over safety. So if you have some high vis accident, your profitability is going to go down, right? People aren't going to want to.
100%.
It's like
lawsuits.
Lawsuits,
100%.
like, I mean, you could be like, it's a case in point, Boeing, right? 737 Max, right? How much money has that cost them as a company, right? I bet it's cost Southwest money. I know it has. And people don't want to fly 737s. And guess what? They're planning on having these airplanes as part of their future plan, right? But they're not there anymore. So safety is important. And the other thing I forgot to mention was every company, the military did this better, in my opinion, but every company tracks incidents because we self-report, like every little mistake that we make, we self-report it. And the companies track that. And if they start to see a trend every year in the training cycle, these things will become training items, right? Or at least discussion items. And in the Navy, we did it, I think, better. Every year I got my check, my rehack in the Hornet. It was, hey, last year we crashed 4 jets because of this, and this. We're going to run through all those scenarios. And you're going to see what led, that kind of stuff. So truly was learning from other people's mistakes. And I think, the companies do that, number one, because they care about safety, but then also a safer company translates, in my opinion, a better business. And that's why they're there. They're in business.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between when we were in the military and at the airlines is the military didn't have to turn a profit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And it was a smaller thing. If you think about any one of the years you were in the Navy, how many incidents there were in the Hornet? It was very easy to go, here are the 4 or 3 or whatever. Let's go over them to the small cadre of pilots that are coming through that fly that airplane. In the airlines, I mean, there's tens of thousands of pilots that fly different airplanes. But I can tell you firsthand, like, my word to God, that I saw it firsthand at our airline, and it's no different than any other airline. I don't care what anybody says. The data of what is going on is so much tracked. And it was presented to me as somebody who wrote recurrent as to this is exactly what we need to focus on.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, fit it into your, X hour sim, because these are priorities. It's not you should do this. It's you shall teach this stuff because this is the latest safety trend. And we want to stop it now before it becomes an incident. So my number one brief, when I brief somebody, our threat brief is our job, period, is point A to point B safely. If point B happens to be where they bought a ticket to, that's extra credit. Period. Like I don't actually care about that. It's point A to point B safely. If I could say I did that, I can learn from the rest of this stuff. So
nice.